Turning it on.
Oh!
Wow. It's not a closed door, right? Since we can't figure out how to do it.
Hand out the beer.
Yeah, turn it on.
Thank you. Finally, I can see.
And you said.
See.
All right, so we're back to order. Calling y'all back to order. I'm sorry. Okay, what do we have first on? Item number 2.
You have your pre-organizational work
You have
session right now.
Yes.
That's called for in your rules of procedures, and so I think then you have the 2 items
Right.
listed under that.
So the first item, 2.1, is the city council appointments. You all have the current appointment list, right? Everybody has that on paper or whatever, or online. What I'm, looking for is seeking your input, on, everyone has their specialty areas. You've been working on certain committees, you have certain areas that you like, things that you wanna do. You all know we went to committee of the whole, for everything except appointments, which I think we could probably do as committee of the whole as well, but that's a discussion to be had, because a lot of us attend a lot of the meetings already and still do that. I don't know that all of us would wanna sit through interviews and all that. I mean, that's, Mark's like, no way. But that's, you're one person, so if other people feel that way, that they want to have appointments as committee of the whole as well. What else did I have on my list? Mr. Perry, help me out. So input from all of you on thoughts about where you wanna go. I believe, Mayor, I'll take all your consideration and kinda make my decision. And I'll make the announcement at the first organizational meeting, so, yes, sir, Mr. Ocean.
It's my understanding, and Mr. Brown, could we get him to explain a little bit more about this? But as I understood this, when I read the rules, for the pre-organizational meeting, this is for the counselors to discuss and come to some kind of consensus here, and then you as the mayor would be announcing this at the meeting, what.
So what you saying, the mayor don't have input? That's what you're saying?
Well, let's ask what the city attorney interprets these rules.
Yes, Mr. Attorney. Please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I guess the best place to start is the language of the rule, and the next item on your agenda is a discussion of the rules of procedure. And the rule for this pre-organizational meeting is in your rules, section 2.2-3, and it's, like I say, it's 2 sentences. I think it's pretty straightforward. In those years in which city council elections are held, that's this year, the city council, including members-elect of the body, shall meet in a work session prior to the organizational meeting, and that, as you know, will be in January, to discuss appointments as members of or liaisons to committees, boards, and multi-jurisdictional agencies. During the discussion of the full council, consideration will be given to a council member's level of interest, experience, his or her specific schedule, and the location, time, and frequency of the meetings. And that's the extent of the rule. It goes on further to state that council can review appointments on an annual basis if it so desires. It also says that the appointments shall be announced by the mayor at the organizational meeting and shall become effective when approved by a vote of city council. And these rules are of a relatively recent vintage. Prior to the adoption of these rules, it was kind of left up to the mayor to sort things out and decide who would be appointed where. This rule, I think, was adopted to give, or to provide for a more, I would say, fulsome city council discussion. It's kind of, even though you can review appointments on a regular basis, this is what I would say is a, speak now or forever hold your peace meeting, in that if you have been on a board or commission for the past 2 years and you would like to stay, now's the time to announce that. Conversely, if you've been on a board or commission for 4 years and you think you're ready to try something different or to move on for whatever reason, this is the opportunity to make that known to your peers on council and to inform the mayor as she compiles the list of appointments, which, as I say, is announced at the organizational meeting. I think it would be inaccurate to say that she is making the appointments. She is putting forth basically a slate of appointments that you as council have to affirm or reject. And if you affirm them, then they become effective. So that's kind of an overview.
I like that, speak now, forever hold your peace, because
That's not original.
I want it to be your input. I want you to be honest and transparent about where you wanna be. And so that we're all in agreement, and we're not having this, I wanted, I should've, we want it, say so, we have a desire, it's up to y'all. And so that's all I ask. I mean, I'm trying to accommodate everybody as best I can. I make, wherever gaps are, I fill them in, whatever I need to do, but you guys are the ones doing the work of these committees. So, Mr. Wolf had raised his hand.
Okay, I'll say I would prefer, obviously, to keep whatever role there is on land use and COG and NVRC, because I don't think anyone else wants to go to NVRC. But I would, certainly be, I think it would be an opportune time for me to rotate off of utilities, and working with, the managers, the things we've talked about with updating, the
Status of that.
the charter for utilities, and that would be an opportune time to do so. Yep.
Yeah. So, in discussion, like Mr. Payton and I had talked earlier about, that position is considered a member.
Is currently considered a member. I have treated it as liaison. I think that's one of the things that needs to be changed and codified.
I agree with that.
And what I would be, what I would suggest, is, I'll be the water carrier, as it were, and then step aside.
Which board, I'm sorry?
Utility Commission.
Oh.
Is Alex.
I would love to be involved with utilities.
Anybody else want utilities? Going
I
once,
think
going
it's
twice?
important to make sure we
Just
have.
check, remember, Mr.
Oh,
the
Mr.
Vice Mayor is
Deputy.
on there just in case.
Yeah, I couldn't hear what you said.
I would be interested in utilities. I think it's important to learn for the next 4 years.
Sebeski, are you there?
I am, I just didn't know it was my turn to talk yet.
Oh, no, I mean, we're just sort of raising hands and speaking, like Mark raised his hand and said he could come off utility, he's ready to give it up. Ms. Ellis said she wanted utility, so I don't see anybody else running to get it, so, if, but it didn't wanna leave you out if you wanted to comment on that, or.
I am, not interested in serving on the utility commission. I do have my list of preferences I can share now, or I can share later.
Well, you can,
I also wanna add
Well,
something.
go ahead.
You wanna go ahead first?
Go ahead, Mr.
I just wanted to clarify, cause utility commission and utilities is in my area of responsibility.
Mhm.
What Mr. Wolf was saying, just for clarification, is that you're going to change, he's suggesting to change it, cause currently the council member is considered a member of the commission.
Right.
And what he's talking about is becoming a liaison, and then you would, unless you change the number, you would then appoint a citizen an additional citizen member. So
One
just
more
for
person.
clarity,
Liaison.
it would just be the
No, it
liaison,
would be-
that's what is being suggested, I'm just to be clarify, that's what they were talking about.
I thought it would be a liaison.
Right,
Right.
Yeah,
the assumption is that the utility commission would work like any other commission.
Right.
You'd have a
Like
council
other
liaison to that. The bylaws don't reflect that now, at least, so that's what we're saying, changing to do that.
Yeah, so change to where the council would be a liaison, but not an actual member of the commission, which is how it currently is worded. I just wanted to clarify so everybody was understood.
Did you
that.
say one as a member?
No,
Okay.
no, and again, just for the discussion,
I didn't know if they had two different things.
as Brian, I'm sure has noticed, when there's a vote of utilities commission, I actually never say anything. So I have treated it as being a liaison, de facto.
Also wanted to say, I'm on the airport commission now, I'm being maybe a little bit too, I would love to stay on the airport commission. And this is only coming up because there's a lot going on at the airport, we have a huge discussion about utilities out there. And Juan and I have been talking a lot about that, so I feel like I have to be more updated on utilities, honestly, and to be more helpful in the airport. But now you might want the airport, Mr. Wolf, you already have all the knowledge, so that might be a good
Well,
spot
we need to
do.
hear from everybody, so.
Not going there.
So, okay. So, I guess we could just go around to each person and just, Mr. Wolf, you're good with, where else were you, NVR?
I am on finance
NVR,
and
okay.
theoretically the chair of land use.
Yeah, so, well, we don't have.
Yeah.
So, that's committee of the whole.
Yep.
Um,
But yeah, I've got NVRC and COG, and again, that's,
and.
COG in particular
COG.
is an investment of
Now, someone
time and
had-
relationships.
Someone had mentioned to me, why am I not on the board of directors for the COG? And I said, oh. I mean, so I just, timing, being new to mayor, I didn't wanna take on all of that, I don't know what that entails, it's how often,
Slumping into DC.
but you can do it online. Right? You don't have to
You
go.
need to be in person. I mean, it's one of
And
those,
they
it's
meet-
a relationship
they
in
meet-
person.
They meet once a month.
Once a month.
Once a month, okay. Well, I'll do that, okay. Alright, so you're good then with whatever you have, okay. So we'll jump to, okay, Mr. Osina, I'll skip all the way around, go bounce over here.
All right, well, I am currently, first of all, on COG, I'm on the Climate, Energy, and Environmental Policy Committee, and I would love to just continue with their meetings there, they're
Which one?
fascinating. On the
Oh,
page
climate,
2,
It's on page two.
okay,
Climate, Energy,
okay,
and
so-
Environment Policy Committee, and I don't mean that, it sounded sarcastic, but I'm
Yeah,
not,
it
I,
did.
it
That's
is
okay.
good, I'm good with that. I am, on Parks and Rec and Solid Waste as the liaison, and I'm a member of the Appointments Committee. And if I had my druthers, I would like to continue on the Appointments Committee and serve as its chair. I'm willing to stay on the other two committees, though I'd really like to try something else other than Solid Waste, cause I was a member there for several years, and then I was the liaison, so just to try something different.
So you're okay there, Parks and Rec, and so if.
I'm okay with
you weren't
Parks and
able
Rec.
to-
I'd like to change Solid Waste if I could, to something else, if somebody's giving up something and we have an opening, but I'll take, and as I said, I'd like to continue on appointments, but be the chairman.
Yeah, so should we have a more discussion about appointments then, because if everybody starts saying, I wanna be part of it, is there any interest in doing a committee of the whole for appointments? Cause that is a question that I put before you all. Do we want it to be this separate thing, do we wanna make it like committee of the whole? Cause some of us go to this stuff anyway, so I
Then everyone.
like the other meetings, like we got rid of, well, not rid of, but we don't have, Senate Finance, and it would just be
Yeah.
like all the other.
So all the
committee of whole.
interviews would be before the entire council?
Yeah, you have to commit to, so that way we wouldn't have the chair and all that, but that's up to y'all, I mean, it's just a thought.
I would argue that you would still wanna have the way it's set up right now and have a smaller group do the interviews, make the recommendations,
Like it is.
explain to you,
Like it is now.
to the full council about,
You agree
what's
with that?
going on.
Okay.
Otherwise, you all have to be at the interviews, they would have to come in the evening,
Okay.
and all that sort of thing, it could get
Yeah.
dicey, it could be a very long evening,
Interesting, just trying to,
of course,
so
worth asking,
you indicated you wanna be chair of that.
that is correct.
Okay, so I noted that.
Okay.
I've been on
the only Republicans. So it would be nice to continue having dual representation on the appointments committee.
Well, it's
I'm
still gonna be
Tommy.
balanced, if you wanna move.
Well, still representation nonetheless.
Representation.
Yeah, sorry.
That's a good point.
I'm sitting at the table, thought I'd share.
Tom, you'd be a good chair, so.
Tom can be chair, you don't have to be chair, but you want me. Okay, so. Teresa, we haven't heard from Cameron Ralph yet, okay, so. Okay, Ms. Ellis, why don't you go ahead with yours?
Yeah. Yes, I'd like to continue with the airport. We have a lot going on out there. I'd love to learn the utilities. I think it'd be good for the next 4 years. It's just interesting to me. I should have gone to some of the meetings, but, the other things, yeah, the appointments, I'm fine being on there as a member. Everything else is committee of the whole. That's about it.
And you're fine with your cog,
Yeah, that's fine.
stay there with the human services?
Yeah,
Okay.
and the Chesapeake Bay.
Oh, you got two. Okay.
Excuse me.
All right, Mr. Smith.
Well, let me preface this by saying I'm extremely flexible, and I'll give you the ones I dearly love.
Yes.
But I'm very flexible and recognizing that people need something. Omni-Ride, Virginia Railway Express, that's fine. Again, I'm flexible in that area. I do read the Region Forward, with CARB, Finance Committee. I would actually like to stay with that chair if no one else wants it, because it's one of the easiest chair jobs you can have.
Which one is this?
The finance.
Committee.
Finance.
Yeah, and again, we
I
we
get
do that
very-
as committee of the
I get very
whole.
little conflict from the committee.
Yeah.
But that one is fine, and legislative committee,
So you
same, it's the
had-
same.
right.
We have Brian, but, good liaison with that. For when you have to juggle and make some switches, I would like to be considered for the Economic Development Authority, and, even, no, I don't mean this at all, Social Service Advisory Board would be some areas that, if you're sitting at the trading table, and, that would be it.
Social services. You said social services, right?
See, that,
You're right.
I said that last for a reason, but yes.
And so in the VRE, you said you were good there?
Yeah,
Or did you-
VRE, I leave to the choice of your needs.
Okay.
I'm enjoying,
Because
the
you've been
VRE is
doing
a
it.
combination, typically it's PRTC, VRE,
Mhm.
where you alternate one and
Mhm.
primary the other. I'm willing to continue to serve, but if your needs arise, then I'm flexible on that one.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Are we supposed to look at the 2022 of the different committees? I mean, if we're a committee of the whole, we're not really breaking them
No,
down,
no,
right?
we
Okay.
don't, yeah, we just have it listed that way, because we did committee the whole later, and we already had that set up, so, yeah. Vice Mayor Sebeski?
Hello, everybody. I would like to obviously, remain on the TPB as my role this year as chair. Next year, they like for the TPB chair to remain on the executive committee for the following year. So I would, like to be reappointed back to that as my, as one thing. I'd like to continue to serve with Ralph as, I on OmniRide, and then the alternate on VRE. We could check that, but I believe, from what I understood from 2 years ago, that, those have to go together that way based on, policies that we have, but I'll defer that to Craig, if they can be broken up. My understanding was we had to do it that way. I am, happy to let Ralph do EDA if he's interested. There is a lot going on there, and I do enjoy those meetings, but I'm also more than happy to give someone else a chance if that's what they want. I have not served on the Historic Resources Board, and if I'm not going to serve on the EDA, I would like to serve there.
Okay.
I would like to continue on appointments. I do feel like I'm a valuable contributor there, and would like to continue with the interview process in doing that. And I'd like to be considered if, for the COG Board of Directors. I know Mark's been doing that for a while, but you also now brought it up, Michelle, so obviously if there's a lot of people in the running for that, then that may not be something I'd be able to do, but I do like the networking that goes along with that and would be interested in serving on that as well. And I would, ask, unless he's not interested, for Ralph or somebody else to continue to serve on the MBTA PCAC committee, because it was a conflict with the appointments committee. Ralph has actually mostly managed that this year instead of myself. So, if I serve on appointments, I don't think I should be appointed to that particular liaison position.
So the MBTA.
Actually, I did have a star beside it, I just overlooked it.
Okay, so you would be MBTA, and that's not too, okay, so, all right. Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor Silvestri. So, if, Airport Commission, nobody else interested in that?
You get too many council.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. I forgot, I'm not used to you being. So obviously I would put you in all the places where leading council would go. So, I mean, if there's, a particular area that you're interested in, I mean, we don't have, the way it looks on this paper, it looks like committees, but it's committee of the whole. So it's not separate committees for finance, land use, and legislative. We just all meet together in that, but appointments is set aside. And I kinda had you penciled in for alternate there, because I think, Teresa, Tom wants to be chair of that. Pam said she wanted to stay, Teresa, and then make you alternate on that, on the appointments, or what were you thinking?
Well, I think I read what he said, and I do understand, but I think, I'm okay with that, but I do have other priorities.
Okay,
And knowing that I'm new, that is one of the places that I understand.
That's typically how it's been done in the past, is people kinda start on appointments and work their way through, but certainly we want you to, tell us what you.
So, I'm interested in the economic development, but I know he wants it, so, it won't be my priority, and I
Okay.
hope I don't lose a couple of friends here, but I'm interested in the Northern Virginia Regional Commission. I'm not able to serve on the Omni Ride of Virginia Railways, that was something that that I like better. The last one, will be the Airport Commission.
Okay.
Right now has been, I don't know if is there a set time. I know some boards are, or they just rotate. I'm just giving you my priority.
No, cause, no one else, you, Teresa said she wanted to stay there, but, so, that is where you would like to go on there.
You don't wanna be on solid waste.
And so I was gonna say, so, Tom, you.
I tell you, when you wanna get rid of your trash this week, you tell
Somebody
me.
gotta take, so Tom, you're on site, we got you, cause you said you would stay on Parks and Rec, get rid of solid, which way was it?
Parks and Rec, I would stay on. Solid Waste, if somebody else would be on it,
Would-
that'd be fine by me, but
Would do that?
I'm not gonna stress. They're a good group, but just to try something different is what I'm really looking at.
So, in essence,
I'm just gonna give, the Airport Commission, here's the concern, this is why I really would like to stay as well. We have some very experienced commission members being turned out. So it's gonna be a relatively young, commission. I was on the Airport Commission before I was a liaison, so I have that history there, that's why I would like to stay. It's not to not give someone opportunity, but I think that there's, worry there about losing some of that history.
Worry from the commission people?
Well, to go with stay in as a liaison, since the commission is terming out, it's, they're gonna have some challenges. So, I've been working with some of the newer ones to make sure they're being kept up to speed, make sure they, get there and whatnot. Utilities does conflict with appointments, I'm looking at the schedule, so appointments 5 o'clock Thursday, utilities are 5:30.
That's on the calendar, so
Yeah.
that's a choice you have to make.
Yes.
Appointments are on Wednesdays, not Thursdays.
It's shown on the calendar as Thursday.
That's when it used
Oh,
to
because
be.
we moved it.
We moved
For
it.
that date,
We
okay.
We moved it to the last Wednesday, or the fourth Wednesday of the month.
That's right, never mind, it's not a conflict.
Fourth Wednesday of the month.
Who's on
Which
airport
one
right
is
now?
that solid waste?
Teresa.
What's the solid waste?
No, I'm asking who the members
Okay.
are.
Howard Goody,
Yeah, he's terming out.
Rich Saradarian's the chair,
Yeah.
Ross Nair's the vice chair.
he'll be stepping out.
You got Howard Goody, Juan Cabrera, John Snyder, Tony, I can't think
McGee.
of Tony's last name, McGee.
Mhm.
Vanslin
Anslin.
is a new member,
That's that girl.
David Fairjaw, he's a new member. Yeah,
Pigeon is. in for-
Larry Pigeon's on,
Okay.
there's 10, I think, on airport. Because there's two from the two county reps, Jim Uzzle is one,
Alright, okay.
and Ross is the other.
Right. Alright. So, it seems as if we start seeing your solid waste.
See, I'm gonna be the least of all of your problems here tonight. Go arm wrestle anybody.
Right, so I think, so,
No one's jumping up for mine.
so the only question then is between Ms. Coates and Sonia about airport. The CPMT, Sonia, I was slated you in there, cause that's where Ms. Raquel Green was.
Yeah, it's the community
so just-
policy management team.
Just kinda putting you in the places where she's vacating. That's the second one on the list.
Does that person have to be also on the social services board? Cause I thought that they went together.
Well, I'm on both because that's where David was before I joined, so I don't know that that's a requirement, but that's where I was slated in.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
So Sonia, put you in the CPMT slot, are you okay with that? I
I'll
mean,
have to see, I'm not privy to the schedule or calendar that you guys are seeing, so I'll have,
So
if
that-
I had it,
Okay.
if I had known, like,
oh, I thought you
that
had
could
it.
be part of the introduction.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought you had.
Before we come to this meeting, I mean, I will bring it.
Yeah, I didn't realize you didn't have it, I
Bradford
apologize.
meets, on Wednesdays, and I can see the schedule, they're meeting tomorrow.
Is that the same as the,
Appointment?
appointment?
No, cause tomorrow is not is tomorrow the fourth Wednesday?
Well, it's,
It might.
Wednesday is the fourth
Well,
Wednesday, yeah.
This one meets at 3:30 in the afternoon, so it doesn't conflict with that one, it's no more than an hour, sometimes 30 minutes at the airport, where they meet.
Would that be? So you need, Leanne, you help her get what she needs, but I didn't realize you didn't have it, I apologize. I didn't know you didn't have the calendar, so, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, and the rules of procedure and all of that stuff. So then going down the list, so, the CPMT, Economic Development Authority, Mr. Smith, Historic Resources Board, Pam, Parks and Rec, Tom will stay, Social Services, Mr. Smith, Solid Waste, Tom.
It's all right, you can love me.
And the Utility
Trash gets picked
Commission, Teresa. MBRC, Mark, MBTA, Route, Mr. Smith, you're taking that, the MBTA, PCAC, okay. And then you and Pam, keeping with the OmniRide DRE, you good with,
If
you
it works
okay
out
with
that way,
that?
yes.
Okay. Cause nobody else said they wanted it. And then for COG, it's between, Ms. Sebeski said she wanted to look at water directors, Mr. Wolf, so, whichever one of y'all, get that out. Oh, no.
what else is Mark on?
Mark, no.
Solid waste.
That fits.
I'll
So
handle
you
it.
will be, not be on, so you will be on, you'll be on NDRC, and that's it. And of course, you know, you lead on. That's all I had, yeah. You would only be on the NDRC, Mr. Wolf, right?
The
That's
other
it.
stuff, apparently,
The other stuff? You need-
as opposed to, the non-committee of the whole stuff, so.
Oh, yeah, well, that's, okay, well, okay, and then Chesapeake, Teresa, Climate, Tom.
Yep.
Human Services, Teresa, the air quality, and I was gonna put Sonia in there as well, for the air quality to take Lynn's place, and then Ralph stay with Region Forward, and of course Pam with TPD, she's chair of that. So I think so it's just really the two, the airport and, the COG director. I have to look at that, I might want to. Okay. So we good there? No, good? Everybody good? Vice Mayor, you good? Hello?
There's a lot of noise wherever the phone is, so as best as I could hear, it sounds okay. But I can always go over this with, you at another time, just to verify that I got the right stuff.
Well, the only thing.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, the only thing that's kinda up in the air is the airport commission, because two people have indicated interest, and the COG director, because you and Mr. Wolf have indicated interest, and I've also looked at, I'm kinda peaked now. It wasn't on my radar my first year, but second year is a different thing. So, those are the only two things I think, and I think the rest of it is solved, and we're gonna keep appointments separate. Tom will be the chair, we've got you and Teresa and Sonia on there, Sonia being the alternate. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it for that. As far as is that an item on me? Okay, so we're going to move on to item 2.2, the rules of procedure. When I looked at this, I just went through and just wanted to talk about updating some of the wording, because it kinda outdated, but that's just something we can look at, just different things, but I don't have anything, but, council members, you had something, Mr. Big,
Yeah.
Mr. Brown. I'm sorry, I forgot, he told me you were gonna be
That's all
talking
right.
about that, and I really wanted to go on, so.
Yeah, this is council's rules of procedure, which you adopt at each organizational meeting every 2 years. This year I'll be making, a couple of suggested changes. One, unless you think, that you may return to the standing committees for finance, land use, economic development, then I think you may want to delete those from your rules of procedure, since those are not really meeting any longer as standing committees. Your only standing committees now really are appointments and the legislative committee. So that can be a topic of discussion for you at the organizational meeting. The only other change I'm going to suggest, is a result of a change in state law, and this pertains to the rules for you to participate remotely, as Vice Mayor Sebeski is doing tonight. And the General Assembly, effective September 1st, did a couple of tweaks to the enabling legislation for those rules. Right now, you can participate remotely for one of two reasons: a medical condition that prevents you from attending a meeting in person, or a personal reason. Typically, those tend to be vacations where you're out of town, or family business, or personal business that causes you to miss a meeting. Excuse me. The General Assembly has now added 2 other reasons that allow you to participate remotely. One is if a family member has a medical condition that requires you to be present with them and to miss a meeting, then that is a legitimate reason for participating remotely. The second new reason, and it's a little bit unusual one, is if your principal residence is more than 60 miles from the meeting location, you can participate remotely. And I started to think about that, and I thought, well, that would have meant that you could have asked to participate remotely at the council retreat, should you so desire, because as you recall, the last one was in Harrisonburg, and that's more than 60 miles away. Not sure why the General Assembly added that as an option, but they did. The other change is, up until September 1st, you could only miss 2 meetings per calendar year for personal reasons. That's been expanded slightly, so now it is the greater of 2 meetings or 25% of the body's meetings for a calendar year. So you have a little bit more leeway there if you want to use the personal reason excuse for missing a meeting. So those will be included in the proposed rules that will be sent to you in advance of the organizational meeting.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
I did wanna make sure that we addressed the, recording or streaming of the work sessions, since this particular document states that they cannot be recorded or streamed outside of the second floor of City Hall. So, since we're not meeting in City Hall, maybe I'm stepping on Mr. Pate's toes, cause we talked about this, but I definitely think that should be addressed.
And in my sense is that's one of the, just because of the changes of where we're at, it makes sense, instead of saying the second floor conference room, it should be wherever our regular meetings are, because they're not gonna be in the second floor conference room. After City Hall's renovated, they'll be adjacent to council chambers, and next year, our plan is to have those in the public safety building in a room that we're working on getting, recording, capabilities in for next year.
Just one point of clarification. By law, any person can record, photograph, stream a public meeting. So the rules don't say you can't stream or photograph a meeting. What they say is that the city does not record or stream meetings outside of the second floor conference room. That doesn't preclude private citizens from being able to do that.
Okay.
We have to allow private citizens the ability to do that.
Yeah, I was just discussing the document itself saying work sessions outside the second floor conference room may not be televised or streamed. I understand that means the agreement with the city under this document, but that's the language I was addressing. But thank you for making that clarification.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, I have
Mr.
a
Smith.
question, I guess, before the council, and before Mr. Brown, actually. Several of the, organizations, committees outside of the council handle closed, this is section 5.5, handle closed meetings a little bit different in that their attorney is, in all closed meeting, and going into the closed session, the attorney reads the reason why, and, coming out, the council certifies that we talked about, our council talked about, confirmed that we talked about it, nothing but what we said is gonna talk about. And I just throw it out if we could give, well, it's your time, but if we could give some consideration to move to that format, that the attorney sends us in and the attorney brings us out, committed to following what we tell the public we're gonna do.
They're not in all the meetings.
I don't.
I typically, people who attend a closed session outside the mayor and the member of council are those people that you think will assist in the discussion. I typically attend with the exception of discussions about appointments and performance evaluations. For example, city manager, each year you do a performance evaluation, and I'm not present then, there's no reason in my mind for me to be present, but otherwise, I'm available and certainly willing to be in attendance at any that where you want me. I think, I'll revisit this, but I think it is a requirement that the body itself make the motion both to go into closed session and to certify.
Okay.
So, but I'll look at that again and make sure.
And I want to be clear, are you, and the folks that you're talking about, is it that they're always having their city attorney do that, or is it the city attorney is reading the description and then a council member is making a motion based on?
Actually, the model I'm citing was the PRCC/BRE, board, the PRTC board, Pam back said she reads us and sits through the meeting and, reads us out, certifies. I'm not hard pressed on that, but as every one of you know, for some reason, closed meetings, I watch extremely close.
Sure. It's important to stay on topic in those meetings.
Council also to follow up on that and
Okay.
let council know what their options are. And just to be clear, if that is an option the council wants me to undertake, I'll be glad to do it.
Okay. Well, it came to mind because during a recent season that y'all saw me go to, there was some observation that we do secret stuff in closed meetings. And if that perception is out there, then that's their reality. But if we got the attorney saying this and know nothing else happened, then that makes that the garbage that it is.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments about that? Mr. Brown, you covered everything you needed to?
Yes, thank you.
What else did I have? On page 6, I looked at, letter B, no member of the city council speak more than once on the same questions, let a member choosing to speak shall have done so for a longer time than 10 minutes. Is it a law? We gotta keep it at 10 minutes?
That's not in the city charter, that's not in the state law or the city code, that's the
That's a
city
long
council
time.
rule that you can increase,
Okay.
decrease, leave the same.
I just
That's,
had that as a question, because sometimes we get.
that's a purely local rule at the discretion of council.
We have to, at the next meeting, the topic of vice mayor, so I have not heard from anyone. So you'll all have to decide amongst yourselves about that position, so.
And,
Yes, sir.
and the actual election of the vice mayor takes place when, Mr. Brown?
At the organizational meeting.
Yeah, on in this case, January 3rd.
At that.
And just, I'm sure you all know this, that's not on the list of appointments that the mayor will read, that's the subject of a separate motion, second, and vote.
So, and again, the responsibilities of the vice mayor are on page 4, of the rules and procedures, and it is pretty clear about what it does, what that position does. So like I said, that's up to you guys and to be voted on at that first meeting, so.
So for Sonia and I, since we've not been a part of that, so you guys just nominate yourselves or each other, is that how it works?
Either self-nominate or somebody
Somebody
nominate.
says, I wanna do it, and then it goes to vote, basically.
And that all happens at the same organizational meeting, you don't necessarily have to do it before, you just do it at that meeting?
No, it's at that meeting.
It's
It's at that meeting.
It's at that meeting.
So is it moved and seconded, or just has a motion?
It's a nomination.
Just nomination.
Gotcha.
So be thinking along those lines and. So I didn't. I don't think I had anything else, in that document, just, I'm kind of a stickler on saying citizen, I want that replaced with resident wherever we can. I think I kind of pointed out a lot of things,
Mayor, that,
yes. Is
in a
that
number of
okay?
places that was done, but I noticed we missed some spaces
Mhm.
where it is still in there.
Yeah, on page 4,
Um, So I did make a note that
Okay,
we
thank
should
you.
clean that up and pay a little closer attention to that.
Yeah, and the he, now there's a she in there, so, stuff like that. They saying it was always.
They and them.
Y'all
They and
had to
them.
worry about it before, now you do.
It's-
5 business days before the meeting for adding items to the agenda, that's still there. I don't think I had anything else that jumped out at me. Okay, so any other questions or comments on the rules and procedures at all? What we talked about? I think that was all that was on our list, right? Mr. Pate, you have anything to add?
You know, you just want the he's changed to she for the next 2 years? then after the next meeting, they can decide, depending on who it is.
I just pointed it out, it all says he, so, you know, it's whatever. Anything else? Nothing else to come before the council? I think that was our last item on the agenda, for tonight. Thank you all for your service as always, and moving forward, Mr. Osina.
May I have permission to ask the city manager a question?
You
That
may
was not on the
ask-
agenda,
you may
but,
ask away.
so when will we be doing, the city manager's evaluation? What is the timeline?
It's upcoming. I did not have.
So it's January,
Well-
New Year.
Soon they were.
Well,
It is, if
You
we
got
don't
the
get
email.
something back from the consultant
You got
this
the
week,
email about the
then.
consultant. I mean,
Yeah, but the issue is that he's supposed to be bringing back a proposal, and I know he was, I think he had some,
Okay.
a family issue or something that came up. And so but I thought we would have it last week at the latest. He understands what the schedule is, that the last meeting of this council is upcoming quickly in December, and so that all needs to happen before then.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Madam
no
Mayor.
problem. Any other questions? All good?
Just check with our phone person.
Vice Mayor, you good? You still there? You awake? Hello? Vice Mayor?
You're on mute, Pam.
Yeah, I'm here, I'm just trying to get off mute. I guess what Tom asked, and we're gonna find out next meeting about the city manager's evaluation.
It is my goal to have it, you should have had it already, but I will express the desire that we'll have something by the next meeting, one way or the other, if we have to go in the
Okay.
direction.
Thank you.
Mr. Buskey, how does one mute you?
Wow.
Thanks, everyone. We are.
Good day.
I'm out. I'm out of that.
That just got recorded too.
Uh-huh.
Just like all the others, right?
Reported in the press.
That's right. There you go.
Thank you, Leanne. Leanne?
Yes.
The sheet of paper that the school board gave out with the timeline, can, I sent